Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. I'm the Saved Schizophrenic, also known as Steven, and I live with schizophrenia. I have for over 15 years. Today's videos, there's going to be a couple. There's going to be 2 poetry videos, and the third will be the devotional. And also I'm going to try to get on live tonight. We'll see if I have time, if I have the energy, and if mentally I can persevering and at least be with you a little bit tonight on live and kind of go back and forth with some of you. So stay tuned. This first poetry piece is about an experience I have quite often. It's that eerie fear that comes when life feels too peaceful, when the silence feels staged, when your mind whispers something's coming. It's that feeling to where things are just too quiet, they're too calm, too peaceful, and something is wrong. That maybe you think you don't deserve that calmness. Maybe you think you don't deserve that peacefulness or that satisfaction, that unconditional love, that support, that sincerity, that compassion, that empathy. Sometimes I know for me, because of all the terrible things I've done, of hurting people I care about, hurting people I love, of causing physical, mental, and spiritual pain upon others, and including myself, that I don't deserve good things. I don't deserve to feel okay. I sometimes feel like I don't deserve happiness. And so I wrote a poetry piece that really is about that calmness that, for me, I often consider a lie, because for my schizophrenia, it's 24/7. It is an illness that is always on the attack. It is constantly on the prowl, and it is looking for the smallest crack in the defense, in your defense, to where it can cause pain and sorrow and suffering and misery and tragedy. My schizophrenia, it knows me well, and it knows exactly how to attack me every day and just tear me apart and ridicule me and bring me down. And a lot of people, I know Christians, brothers and sisters, who will be like, oh, read scripture, read the Bible, you need to pray, you need to go to church, you need to go to church functions, maybe barbecues, game nights, things like that. Maybe just talk or text a couple of friends from church and get together and have Bible study. And they'll say all of these, give me advice that on the surface seem great, they seem plausible, they seem helpful, but underneath the surface, the problem is sometimes that advice, 1, is just unrealistic, and 2, the people that give you that advice don't realize the amount of effort and energy it takes just to get out of bed, just to put on clothes, just to take a shower, to brush your teeth, to get out and be outside. That a lot of those times when people give you advice, they don't take into account the process that it takes for you to read the Bible, to go to church, to meet with friends from church who want to have a Bible study, things like that. Because it's I would say it's a battle. It is, for me, it feels like I'm walking through hell again, that I'm experiencing that pain to where I'm picking up my cross on a daily basis and carrying it. For me, I do think there are some illnesses, some disorders that are worse than others. And it doesn't mean that one person has it worse than another person. No, that's not what I'm saying. But when it comes to certain disorders and illnesses, there's levels to where there takes more effort and energy just to get by compared to another situation. For example, there are a lot of people who say, I'm anxious, I'm depressed, or I'm sad. And even though sadness, depression, anxiety, those are tough things to get through. There's tough things for someone to really have problems with. Anxiety, depression, and sadness can cause a lot of problems in someone's life. But even if we're just talking about a depressive disorder, a anxiety disorder, I am of the opinion that when it comes to the ladder of illnesses, those compared to other illnesses are kind of low to where you can get by. That maybe there's medication, maybe there's therapy, maybe there's a combination of both medication and therapy, to where if you do those things, you'll be okay. That there's light at the end of the tunnel. But there's some illnesses like schizophrenia and multiple personality disorder, and even I would throw in there bipolar disorder and borderline personality disorder, to where medication and therapy isn't going to solve everything, and that even if you have a combination of both medication and therapy, you're not promised healing. You're not promised a cure. That, especially for schizophrenia in my case, my medication doesn't take away all my symptoms. Therapy doesn't take away all my symptoms. For example, I hear voices 24/7. Whether I take medication or not, I'm hearing voices, and sometimes I'm seeing things. So when it comes to illnesses and disorders, I do feel like there's a hierarchy, I think that's the word, right? There's levels to it, to where there's less severe and most severe or more severe. And I don't think people take that into account. But I want us to get into this poetry piece that I wrote, because I got into a tangent. I'm sorry for getting into a tangent right now. But like I said, it is about that calmness that is before the storm, that just feels like a lie. It feels like a trap. And that's what we're talking about today. So this poetry piece is called The Calm That Lies. Part 1, The Quiet Before. The light pours in through open blinds, a golden hush, a peace that wraps around my chest. So soft, so still, and yet it tightens. Against my will. I smile because I ought to smile. I've been okay for quite a while. The sky is blue, the bills are paid. The voice is gone, the ghosts have stayed. As memories, just shadows now. I'm safe again, but I don't know how. The world is warm, I eat, I sleep. The silence here is far too deep, like breath held in a lover's bed, but I can feel what's up ahead. The ticking clock, it mocks, the quiet churns to counting knocks. No one's there, I know it's true, but I check again, just to be sure. This piece, it's staged, it's way too clean. I'm just the pawn, this is the scene. Part 2, The Unraveling. There's something wrong in this good place, a trapdoor hidden in its grace, a storm that stalks behind the trees, a laugh that rides the summer breeze, and every time I start to rest, I feel it crawling through my chest. The sense that I've been marked again, the demons dressed like loyal friends. The mirror doesn't lie or speak, but I still watch it every week, waiting for the blink, the glitch, for eyes to shift or faces twitch. Too long it's calm, too long it's still. That's how the sickness gets its fill, not in the blood, but in the trust. It churns the gold of peace to dust. And if I say I'm scared, they will smile. You're doing well, it's been a while. They do not know the signs I see, the patterns in the symmetry. The words that shift within the text, the way the world prepares what's next. A knock too soft, a dog too still. I know it means they'll come to kill. Part 3, the descent. It's not a voice, not yet, not loud, just tension wrapped in velvet shroud. It's not a scream, not in the ear, but something stirs, and I feel fear. I fold the towel, I wash my plate, I lock the door, it's far too late. I never win, I never will, because the trick is standing still. The joy I felt, it was the lure, a poisoned well, disguised as pure. This peace, it was the hunter's net, and I was smiling when I stepped. I danced through days with weary grace, pretending not to see its face. The shadow by the garbage bin, the whisper through my ceiling fan. I dare not speak, I dare not move. The silence deepens every groove. And when I laugh, it feels too loud, like shouting prayers beneath a shroud. I keep my faith, I try to pray, but God feels far on days like today. Is this the test, or just the curse? Is waiting peace, or is waiting worse? Part 4, the knowing. They will say it's fine, just breathe, you're safe, but safety's just another lie. A fragile thing that breaks too fast, a glass that always shatters last. I've lived too long inside the game to not suspect when joy feels tame. It's coming, yes, it always does. The fever dream, the flies, the buzz. And so I clean, I pray, I write. I brace my soul against the night. I walk in light but trust the dark, because I know its twisted spark. The smile is armor, don't be fooled. My mind's a maze, not yet subdued. The trap is set in peace too pure, a polished floor with hidden doors. So if I seem a bit withdrawn, when the sun is shining, the sky is calm, it's not because I don't feel grace, but I have conversed with destiny, the storm that waits with patient grin and always finds a way back in. So yes, I know this piece is fake, but let me breathe before I break. That is the poetry piece, The Calm That Lies, that I wrote this morning. I'm going to do some more writing today, and I'll post a video of my second poetry piece later today. But I don't know how many of you feel this way sometimes. I know I'm not the only one, but I hope that there's going to be a couple people that feel vulnerable and that they're willing to be vulnerable when it comes to this video and comment what they struggle with. I know that, and I believe that vulnerability is something that helps heal people and can help heal a group of people who are struggling. So if we're honest with each other, if we're honest with ourselves and just the struggles we go through, and we're willing to admit those struggles out in the open, it is a very healing thing to do. When other people feel less alone because you're willing to admit what you're struggling with, it heals both the person going through those struggles and people who want and need someone to relate to, someone who is going through the same thing. So, brothers and sisters, I hope and I pray that you guys are able to feel something with this poetry piece, that it knocks on your door and you feel some type of way. I really do hope you do. But like I said, I don't like the feeling of that peace before the storm. It bugs me a lot because with my illness for schizophrenia, I'm always on the defense. There's never a boring day. There's never a time to where I'm like, yeah, okay, peace and quiet. That's just never happens for me. It's always loud. It's always obnoxious. And I wish it was quiet. I do. I wish I had a mind that worked properly. I wish I had a brain that wasn't sick, that wasn't ill, that I had a mind, a body, and a soul that just wasn't cracked at the seams and had faults and weaknesses and just cracks in the wall. That's really what it feels like. I'm just like I'm breaking apart and falling apart, and nothing I can do can keep me together. That's what it feels like sometimes. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna keep writing, keep doing some journaling and poetry today. Keep writing some poetry today. So stay tuned for the second poetry piece, which will probably be later in the afternoon. I'm probably guessing about 3 or 4 o'clock. And then I'll do my devotional probably about 6 o'clock. And I'll go on live, I'm guessing probably about 7 or 8 o'clock. That's the time frame I'm thinking for today. So guys, I love you guys so much. Peace and blessings. Take care. And I will talk to you in a little bit. Peace out.